a new home, an old secret. The house stood on a hill overlooking the town, a Victorian mansion with a stately air and a price tag that was surprisingly low. John, a young writer seeking solitude, saw it as a steal. He ignored the whispers in town, rumors of the house's dark history. He was here to write, to escape the city's noise and find inspiration in the quiet countryside. The moving truck disgorged his belongings, boxes piled up in the hall, furniture stood shrouded in sheets, the house echoing with emptiness. John wandered through the rooms, his footsteps loud on the wooden floors. The air felt heavy, thick with the scent of dust and time. Curiosity led him to the basement door, tucked under the stairs. It was a heavy wooden door, warped with age, a rusty padlock securing it. John ran his hand over the rough wood, feeling a chill spread up his arm. What secrets did this house hold? He shrugged off the unease, attributing it to the unfamiliar surroundings. He had work to do, a novel to start. The basement could wait. The whispering door. Days turned into weeks, John settling into a routine of writing in the sunlit attic room by day and exploring the town by night. Yet the locked door in the basement nagged at his mind. Sometimes late at night, he thought he heard sounds from below. Soft whispers, the scrape of something heavy on the floorboards. One evening, unable to ignore the pull any longer, John found himself standing before the basement door. He examined the padlock, rusty and thick. Where could he find the key? He tugged at the door, but it wouldn't budge. It was as if something on the other side was holding it shut. Frustrated, he gave the door a kick. A low moan answered him from the other side, a sound that sent chills down his spine. John stumbled back, heart pounding. Was it his imagination, or did the whispers seem louder now, more insistent? He fled back to his work, the image of the door imprinted on his mind. The house, once a haven, now felt oppressive, the silence broken by imagined sounds. Sleep offered no escape, his dreams haunted by the whispering door. Shadows and whispers. The next morning, John tried to convince himself it was just the old house settling. He tried to focus on his writing, but the words wouldn't come. The whispers seemed to follow him, winding their way into his thoughts. He paced the attic room, restless and on edge. He decided to search the house, hoping to find the key to the padlock. He checked drawers, ransacked cupboards, but found nothing. The house seemed to mock him, its silence a heavy weight. The shadows in the corners seemed to deepen, taking on sinister shapes. Exhausted and frustrated, John returned to the basement door. He leaned against the cold stone wall, listening. The whispers were clearer now, almost intelligible. They spoke his name, their voices filled with a chilling urgency. The decision. John couldn't ignore the call any longer. He needed to know what was behind the door. Driven by a mixture of fear and morbid curiosity, he went into town and bought a heavy bolt cutter. The hardware store owner looked at him strangely, asking no questions as he paid. Back at the house, the whispers seemed to intensify, urging him on. He knelt before the door, his hand trembling as he positioned the bolt cutter against the rusty padlock. His heart hammered in his chest, each breath echoing in the silence. He hesitated, a sliver of doubt piercing through his fear. What if it was better not to know? But the whispers left him no choice. They were a chorus now, their voices a symphony of dread. Beyond the threshold. The padlock snapped open with a sound like a scream. The door creaked open, releasing a gust of stale, cold air that smelled of decay and forgotten things. John grabbed a lantern from the top of the stairs, his hand shaking as he lit it. The flickering light revealed a set of wooden stairs leading down into darkness. Taking a deep breath, John started down the stairs, each step echoing in the silence. The air grew colder, the whispers louder. He gripped the lantern tighter, the metal warm in his hand. What awaited him in the darkness below? The stairs ended in a small, dirt-floored room. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like macabre decorations, and the air was thick with the smell of damp earth. The whispers seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. John swept the lantern around, his heart pounding. A terror unleashed, and then he saw it. In the far corner, huddled in the shadows, was a figure. It was tall and skeletal, its skin stretched taut over bones. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent light, and its mouth was open in a silent scream. John gasped, dropping the lantern. It clattered to the floor, the flames sputtering and dying. Darkness enveloped him, thick and absolute. He heard a low growl, felt something cold and clammy brush against his skin. Panic seized him. He stumbled back, tripping over something on the floor and falling heavily. He scrambled to his feet, his hands outstretched, searching for the stairs. But the whispers were all around him now, mocking his fear. Trapped. The creature moved with terrifying speed. John felt its claws rake across his back, the pain sending him crashing back to the dirt floor. He cried out, the sound swallowed by the darkness. He thrashed and kicked, desperate to fight back against the unseen horror. He could feel its hot, fetid breath on his face, smell the stench of decay. It was toying with him, enjoying his terror. John closed his eyes, waiting for the final blow, but it never came. Instead, he heard a heavy thud, followed by a sickening crack. He opened his eyes to see the creature lying still on the floor, a dark stain spreading out from beneath it. John scrambled back, his heart pounding, his breath coming in ragged gasps. What had happened? Alone in the darkness. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness, he realized with horror that he was not alone. Standing over the creature's body was another figure, this one even more grotesque and terrifying than the first. It was massive, its body a patchwork of rotting flesh and bone. Its eyes, like burning coals, stared down at him. John cowered back, his mind reeling. He had unleashed something truly evil, something that had been imprisoned behind that door for a reason. And now, it was free. The creature bent down, its long, sharp claws reaching for him. John closed his eyes, accepting his fate. He had made a terrible mistake, one that he would pay for with his life. The basement, once a place of mystery, was now his tomb. And the whispers, once a haunting murmur, were now a chorus of victory.